Welcome to Bodhi Unified Flow. If you're joining us today, you already know our core mission. Here, we simplify complexity and amplify performance. We've got a truly fantastic explainer lined up for you today. We're diving into value stream mapping, or VSM, finding inefficiencies in project life cycles. Think of this as your introduction to VSM, where we'll be exploring the origins and core purpose of value stream mapping. We're going to talk about taking your project management from absolute chaos to a predictable, seamless flow. So let's just jump right in.
Here's our roadmap for today's session. We'll kick things off with Section 1, the chaos in projects. Then move into Section 2, the origins of value stream mapping. After that, Section 3 covers defining value versus waste. Section 4 looks at the core purpose of VSM, and Section 5 highlights the tangible impact of VSM. Finally, we'll wrap up with Section 6, our summary and references.
By the end of this session, you are going to have a rock-solid grasp on four main things. First, you'll understand exactly where VSM came from historically. Second, you'll be able to instantly spot the difference between value-adding activities and waste. Third, you're going to comprehend why creating a visual workplace is so absolutely crucial. And finally, you'll see the data-driven benefits VSM can bring to your own project life cycles.
All right, let's get started with Section 1, the chaos in projects.
You know, whether you're in construction, manufacturing, or software design, the reality of traditional project management is that it is often hiding a ton of inefficiencies. We're talking about products just sitting there waiting, bloated inventories, and frustrating rework. Because modern projects involve so many moving parts and cross-functional teams, things just get lost in the shuffle. You get these massive approval lags and excessive material handling. And here's the real kicker. Without a visual roadmap mapping out these steps, these wastes completely fly under the radar. They literally hide in plain sight. They eat up your budget, they drain your time, and they exhaust your resources, all while management assumes everything is just business as usual.
So how do we actually fix this? Let's move on to Section 2, origins of value stream mapping. VSM didn't just appear out of thin air. It has a really fascinating evolutionary journey deeply rooted in lean philosophy and the famous Toyota production system, which was all about just-in-time production. As a formal strategic tool, it was first brought into the spotlight by Jones and Womack back in 1990. Then, fast forward to 1997, Hines and Rich successfully took these concepts and applied them to manufacturing environments to expose waste at an enterprise level. But the real game changer, the framework most of us use today, was formalized in 1999 when Rother and Shook popularized their famous five-stage method. What started off as a way to track the door-to-door flow of products has basically evolved into the gold standard for enterprise improvement.
This brings us to Section 3, defining value versus waste.
To really get VSM, you have to understand this one critical lean concept, muda. Muda is simply the Japanese term for waste. But in our context, it has a very specific, rigorous definition. It's any action or task in your project lifecycle that eats up time, budget, or physical resources, but adds zero value to the final product from the customer's perspective. None. It's basically the friction in your workflow. And VSM is specifically designed to hunt down this muda and completely eliminate it.
Let's break this down into a direct comparison to make it crystal clear. VSM essentially forces your team to put every single step of a process into one of two buckets. In bucket 1, we have value-adding activities. These are the crucial tasks that actually drive the product or service forward to the client. This is what the client is pulling their wallet out to pay for. In bucket 2, we have non-value-adding waste, our muda. This is the bad stuff. Delays, extra setup times, moving materials around way too much, rework because of a bad design, and those awful approval lags. By laying these two categories out side by side visually, VSM shines a massive spotlight on the hidden waste dragging your project down.
Now that we know what we're hunting for, let's dive into Section 4, the core purpose of VSM.
The whole purpose of value stream mapping aligns perfectly with what we teach here at Bodhi Unified Flow, creating a visual workplace. Imagine a workspace where anyone, from the top manager down to a frontline worker, can glance at a map and spot a bottleneck in under 30 seconds. That's the dream, right? VSM diagrams the complete flow of materials, information, and critical decisions from the very beginning all the way to delivery. It creates this beautiful, continuous cycle of exposing waste, stabilizing your capacity, and ensuring value flows seamlessly to your end user.
Okay, so how do we actually execute this map? It boils down to three initial steps. Step 1, define customer requirements.
You've got to figure out the exact demand, shift patterns, and delivery needs so you know what the customer is actually pulling from you. Step 2, and I absolutely love this one, walk the flow backward. Yes, backward. You start at the very end, like the downstream shipping dock, and trace the steps upstream to the raw materials. Why? Because walking backward forces your team to view the process strictly from the customer's perspective so you don't fall into the trap of traditional push logic. And finally, step 3, collect empirical data. No guessing allowed here. You record exact cycle times and physically count your intermediate work in progress by literally observing it on site.
All of this feeds right into the famous 5-stage process popularized by Rother and Shook. Here's how it goes. First, you select a specific product family or project type to tackle. Second, using that hard empirical data we just grabbed, you draw up your current state map. This shows the process exactly as it is today, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Third, you analyze that map, pinpoint the muda, and design an optimized future state map. Fourth, you propose a Kaizen action plan to get you from the current mess to that ideal future state. And fifth, you implement it. Once you do, that new workflow becomes your new baseline and the cycle of continuous improvement starts all over again.
It sounds amazing in theory, doesn't it? But let's look at the hard data in Section 5, the tangible impact of VSM.
When you look at the real-world results, the sheer scale of improvement is just mind-blowing. Let's look at an analysis by Gunduz and Nasser from 2019. They applied value stream mapping to a complex underground pipeline project. By mapping the flow, spotting the bottlenecks, and cutting out the non-value-adding fluff, they achieved a nearly 31% reduction in total project lead time. And it doesn't stop there. They also saw a 20.8% drop in overall costs. So VSM isn't just some academic paperwork exercise. It is a heavy-hitting tool for massive operational and financial gains.
And the beauty of this is how versatile it is across different industries. Research by Lima and colleagues on residential building architecture, along with Bjorn Vogt's work on kitchen cabinet assembly, back this up entirely. In those scenarios, adapting VSM slashed project duration by up to 34%. Plus, they tracked a 22% increase in pure value-adding time. Think about that for a second. By just removing the waste, you're literally handing your team almost a quarter of their day back to focus on work the client actually cares about. It makes everything so much more streamlined and far less stressful.
We have covered a lot of fantastic ground today. Let's wrap things up with Section 6, Summary and References.
Let's quickly recap our key takeaways to make sure we nailed those learning objectives. We've seen that value stream mapping is essentially the ultimate tool for visualizing both material and information flow across your whole project. We know its main engine is strictly separating activities, so we can relentlessly hunt down and eliminate muda. We explored how its core purpose is building a visual workplace where anybody can spot a bottleneck in seconds. And finally, we looked at the hard empirical proof that using these lean principles will drastically reduce your lead times, slash your costs, and shrink your project durations.
On screen, you'll find the foundational texts and peer-reviewed studies we used to put today's explainer together, from the original works of Womack, Jones, Rother, and Shook, to the more recent applications by Gunduz, Nasser, and Lima. I highly recommend checking these out if you want to really dig deep into lean management mechanics. Thank you so much for joining us today at Bodhi Unified Flow. But before you go, I want to leave you with one final thought. If you were to go into work tomorrow morning and walk your current project's flow backward from the customer's perspective, what hidden waste do you think you'd uncover hiding right in plain sight? Keep learning, keep mapping, and we'll see you in the next one.